What's up? This is Drex1. Welcome to another episode of the History of the Bay podcast, sponsored by the good folks of Amoeba Music San Francisco, as well as the folks of Dying Breed SF. Today, behind the lens, we got Rocky Vision, we got King Said, we got Dio on the boards, we got the producer Skino in the cut, and today we got another special guest for y'all, a living legend, the one and only Hugh EMC.
What it do, my nigga?
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Love you too, man. Appreciate you, bro.
You know, I'm an avid watcher, man.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all got a beautiful movement here.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. We've been talking a little bit about getting you on here. Matter of fact, just randomly chopping it today, and I was like, "Oh, can you come today?" And you showed up, man. So I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir. My pleasure, most definitely.
Yeah, and I'm sure I've told you this before, but for those who don't know, like, this man is like a living legend, bro. Like, it's safe to say that San Francisco hip hop would not be what it is today without this guy's contributions. You know, when we talk about the legends of hip-hop, the Rakims, the KRS-Ones, you know, he's up there for the San Francisco Bay Area, influenced generations. So just want to give you your props real quick as being one of the pioneers, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You know, it's like, man, it's like, I've seen hip hop, man, basically from its start, man, when it first hit, like, the West Coast. I was a young kid, man, sneaking into Big Bob's Boogie Basement, up in Turkwood Projects, man. Big Bob is kind of like our Kool Herc in a lot of ways, Big Bob, Electric Black, Silverhorn Productions, and my partner in crime, DJ X1, formerly Scratchmaster T, he was a young nigga DJing like at 12 years old for Big Bob and them and shit, so like he been cutting his teeth on this hip hop for a long time, so like I seen the whole change and everything, man, the manifestation of like hip hop finally like kind of taking root in San Francisco. You had groups like Bowman and Effect, my boy Jarvis Baker, Wayne and them, you know what I'm saying? And I used to open up for them cats. Like, that's a Bowman Effect from out of Fillmoe, Banneker Homes, and if I'm not mistaken, man, I think one of the members, Jarvis Baker done wrote for like artists like Shanice and Wayne done wrote for like artists like In Vogue and like, these brothers were like, they got into the industry, the behind the scenes of the industry making noise. But like, yeah, man, and like Lonnie Green, Pop-Tart always say, he was like, man, you're the first person to put me on stage with this hip hop shit. Cause like, Lonnie Green, take it back to the demons of the mind, strutting. And back then, before hip hop, like Lon like to say, the day before hip hop, like, the Strutters were like the stars in the Bay Area, in Frisco, Fillmoe, for sure. Like when we went to Juneteenth, the same way youngsters go to Juneteenth, maybe to see, LaRon or Fig or, like a big artist. We would go to see the Demons of the Mind, Granny and the Robotroids, Monty and the Mechanical Midgets. Like, so that strutting, that's definitely like an element, that's like our breakdancing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Element out here in Northern California. But like, yeah, man, you've been doing this shit for a minute, man,
You answered like 3 of my questions without me even having to ask them right there. No, it's good. I like that. You're giving us that good dialogue. But let's take it back to the very, very beginning before hip-hop even. Let's talk about Fillmoe, California, man. What was it like growing up in Fillmoe?
Bruh, man, Fillmoe, man, was such a, like looking back at it from now, it was such a beautiful place. One thing in Fillmoe, growing up in Fillmoe, you gonna learn to fight at least a little bit, because somebody gonna fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you want to move around. Like, if you want to try to get to Golden Gate Park and you stay in the projects, you know what I'm saying? You got to pass through Fulton Street, you got to cross over through DeVille Street, and you got to make it to Golden Gate Park. If you trying to, if you trying to go to Two Jacks up on Hayes Street, you got to walk through, you got to get through OC, Virgo's, Fulton Street, Death Valley, Page Street, and then you could go get you some fried fish and shit from from Two Jacks. So you it's like you gonna learn to throw them things back, but back then. This is before all the drive-bys and the gunplay. I tell a lot of youngsters that I work with, like, back in the day, even if you had a pistol, if like you and this cat from Fillmoe, y'all both got pistols, like Dregs, I'll turn to you, be like, man, hold my pistol, blood. Like, other dude, man, yo, D, hold my pistol, like, and then we'll choke them. Like, it wasn't about that gunplay. You was a sucker if you had to use a pistol, and so you had areas like down by, like, we called it Virgo's. There was a corner store called Virgo's, made the best hot link sandwiches in the universe, man. I don't know what the fuck that sauce is to this day. Man, they come back up with them hot link sandwiches with that sauce. They make $1 million fucking dollars, man. But we called the whole area Virgo's. And that area where they had, back then, you had Thai stick weed, we called, niggas got cookies and all this other crazy shit now, but we called it indica, you know what I'm saying? So you had indica, Thai stick, you had gold weed, you had Panama red, and this is before crack really hit. So like you only gonna be able to buy weed and maybe like quarter teas of cocaine down there. And everybody's hanging out, music popping, you know what I'm saying? The Fly Honeys is out there. It's like a big event. Imagine going by Elio Hutch and there's like over 100 people on both sides, like, between both sides of that street. There's like 100 plus people just hanging out with music, chilling, everybody having fun. Shout out to OG DJ Still Seville. He used to do the roller skate parties right there across the street from Elio Hutch, between Lauren Miller and I forget what those brown buildings is called across the street from Elio Hutch. I don't know if they're part of Friendship or what, but like those brown buildings right there, it used to be basketball courts, in between Lauren Miller, and that whole area was a big area. We have big roller skate parties. He set up the speakers outside, them was like our block parties. Like, you know what I'm saying? You hear cats from like East Coast, from New York, talking about those block parties. Like we had our block parties too, our big roller skate parties, and like that's, when the drive-by started though, man, that just kind of killed all that. Cause like, if you from Fillmoe, if you ever been through Fillmoe, if you drive up McAllister Street or drive up Fulton Street, like that whole area is that's wide open. So cats just stop hanging out because dudes that come through just eating up. Like, I remember being out there, man. They used to have these monkey bars, and these cats came through shooting, and the bullets are hitting the monkey bars. Ping, 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 ping. I was like, man, I tell you, like, I'm not no quick runner, but like, man, when that gunfire happened, man, I'll dust with Shakari Richardson, what's her name? I'll dust her, man. Getting away from them bullets, bro. Like, that's your life, man.
What do you think it was that made that transition, that started setting all that stuff up?
Man, crack, money, guns, the proliferation of guns, because back when I was really young, you couldn't just get a gun. You had to be a real connected in the game to get like a 38 or something like that. When crack came out, I was like 16, 17, motherfuckers bringing me guns, like getting real ammunition, the Tech 9s and shit like that. Like, you ain't got to even look too far to get them shits. But before that, like, getting a gun was kind of rare, man. Like, you had to really be connected in the game. And before crack, you couldn't be no young motherfucker selling dope. Like, motherfuckers will check your pockets. Even, like, they talk about crack kids. They talk about crack babies. We was crack kids. Like, we was like 11, 12, 13, 14 when crack first hit. And so we started selling rocks. Like, we used to get into it with the OGs robbing us, man. You had the Space Age Gangsters, Chucky Barnes, Larry Dorn, rest in peace, Double J, Mad Max, rest in peace, Mad Max, rest in peace, KY, like, like the illest motherfuckers, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you couldn't just have a sack and be out here thinking you're gonna sell some dope unless you gotta be about something. You better be ready to get down, to defend your pockets. Like the OGs better respect you, And I always grew up respecting my OGs, So like, it's like, man, OG, okay, I got a little something for you, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna disrespect you like that, because that's how they would take it, But like, yeah, man, like, it's a whole different era now. But like, that changed the game.
Fillmoe also has like a history of like the pimp culture. What was your exposure to that?
And so I grew up during when I was 14, that's about when crack first hit. So when it comes to like exposure, that's to like a lot of pimping and everything, pimping Paul Tanner. My brother Mac Mark Wayne was a cold gorilla. I call it bro gorilla pimp. I done seen him do some, some cold beat downs. You supposed to pimp. You supposed to pimp with your hands in your pockets, man. But some cats gorilla pimp, right? Man, who's this pimp? Neutral Blue, OG Neutral Blue. I hadn't met Fillmoe Slim or anybody like that at the point. I'm a young nigga in the projects. As a friend, Paul Tanner, a little older than me, that was the first cat that I really, really knew to really put pimping down. I tell motherfuckers I keep it 100. I did a lot of mismacking. I had a few hoes. You know what I'm saying? Come go get a nigga his money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm selling weed, coke, heroin. I'm hustling, doing everything. And I remember, man, I'm in San Quentin, and I got this study from Richmond, a lot of pimps out of Richmond. And this pimp telling the story about, the prostitute he was having problems with, right? You know what I'm saying? And when he said her name, they almost fell out the book. I was like, blood, man, you too? You like that too? Man, But yeah, man, that's one thing about Fillmoe, man. We've always had a unique type of game and ism. I talk to OGs from Bayview, Hunters Point, Double Rock, back in the 50s, 50s, 60s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they give it up to Fillmoe, man. It's man, Fillmoe was just a little more, I use the word cosmopolitan than the rest of the city.
Well, it's right there in the middle. It's the only neighborhood that's truly inner city, because it's Fillmoe and the Mission is right in the center of the city.
Yep.
You literally go downtown from Fillmoe, you right there.
Word.
So that kind of makes sense, a little more fast paced that.
Yep.
Hunters Point, Lakeview, Sunnydale, you in the cuts.
Yeah, this the
you
outskirts.
On the edge of the city.
Yeah, the boondocks.
Yeah.
The other side of town.
Right.
You born on the wrong side of the tracks. All of those sayings about low income neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods. Fillmoe, we inner city hoodlums, inner city blues, baby. You know what I'm saying? So you're right about that.
So talk a little bit about OCP as well, because that's something that you reference a lot in your music, and it's influential.
Yeah, man. I'm proud to have grown up in OC. I tell everybody I was originally born in the Haight-Ashbury. When my mother and father broke up, I was probably about 4 years old, and then that's the next thing we in these motherfucking projects, and most definitely, them projects gonna make or break you, man. It's a lot of violence, growing up, since the age of 9, and in my poetry, I say LeGrandy, Percy, Stace, Lil Chris, but LeGrandy, Percy, Stace, them was the first 3 cats from OC to get killed, and in that order. LeGrandy got killed by some Crips that came up here from LA, because anybody know about the dope game back in the day, if you wanted big weight, you had to go to LA to get it, Some Oakland cats had connections, but in the early
You're talking about the Freeway Rick and the Felix Mitchell type connection, those types of scenarios.
If you want to get weight, kilos and shit, you got to go to LA, back then. And so I don't know what happened down there, but I just remember with some Crips that did it, that killed the homie LeGrandy. Percy got killed when they was moving a lot of families around, like from Fillmoe over to Bayview, Hunters Point, other side of town. He got killed in a dice game on 3rd Street, shooting dice on 3rd. Somebody shotgunned the homie Percy. And then Stace, got killed by, ricochet bullet. Motherfucker came through shooting at somebody else, and the bullet hit Stace in the head, but like, yeah.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you sharing all that Fillmoe history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because when I do my History of the Bay segments, one of my favorite ones was the one I did on you, bro.
Yo.
Because those pictures of you back in the day, you with the gazelle frames and the fur coat and like 6, 7 girls around you, the ill-ass OCP turf jackets with the letters on the back and the turf hats, like seeing all those pictures, like it looks like your music. Like it's what your music looks like. Like when you hear a Hugh EMC tape from the 80s, those pictures like come to life. I'm gonna just put this out there. You need to write a movie, bro.
Man, I've been thinking about it, man.
Several movies about all this shit. Because everything you just said, like, sounds like one of those ill OG Superfly, you know what I'm saying? Blaxploitation type of flicks, bro.
Yeah, man. I promise you I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it for a while. I promise
At least a book, novel, something like that, autobiography.
Yeah. I got to put pen to paper to do it. Like,
for sure. Because that's another reason I wanted you here, just so people can get exposed to this history, because the fact that you even talking, you can just name them like that, the first cats from your hood, from your projects that got killed. And that's like an everyday reality that we just accept now.
Man,
that we lose people all the time, and there's gunplay all the time, and everything's drug infested, and we kind of just accept that as the way it is. But you're like living proof, like it wasn't always like that.
Nah, you're right. Yeah, and it's like, and that's what my whole hip hop manifesto movement is about, man. Putting this positivity back into hip hop, because media controls minds, for the positive or the negative. So if we want to affect positive change, we gotta use the power of our music. That's one of the most powerful tools that we got, and so just kind of bring that element back of positivity.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, I like talking about that stuff to understand the reality of it.
Yeah.
I don't like glorifying it.
Yes, sir.
But I don't like to shy away from it either, because it's part of our history that we gotta understand.
You gotta know your history. Yeah. Like I tell young cats, you gotta know your hood history too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like World War II and American Revolution, yada yada yada. You gotta know your hood history, man. And you should know your hood history. Everybody should be proud of where they from, and also you could miss a lot of bullshit by knowing your hood history,
right?
Because them is lessons, right? A lot of cats done went through, it's like understanding history. Like I remember, man, like we was young niggas when we started OC, and we kind of, we came together just as like young cats would do, and the term OC kind of came about from the term saying, oh man, he went out of control on dude. It was just like a saying. Mm-hmm. Like if you really whoop somebody ass, a motherfucker be like, oh, man, he went out of control on that nigga, man, whoa, right? And so it became the name of the gang, But then also, we had to stick together, because like I was saying, it's like the OGs, this is a whole new thing. You gotta imagine young, somebody under 20 or something like that, or somebody that's young, that's not plugged in with some older dude that's selling dope.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna come take it from you.
Yeah.
I'm the sick OG, bench press 300 in the bin, but as you know, crack took a lot of OGs out, so we was that first generation to start losing respect for our elders, because we saw how they behaved on crack cocaine addiction,
Right, because the crack started out as some fly shit.
Yeah, it was just a new drug.
Crack, it's just like some fly shit. Put it in the weed. You know what I'm saying? It's like flossing a little bit. Like, I got this shit right here. We about to fire this up.
Yeah,
and then it's a brand new thing, and then you see the effects of it. Like, oh shit!
Like, whoa, this shit a little different.
Like this dude turned into a zombie. What the fuck?
You know, man. Yeah, I used to see cats, man. That I would go to school. I would go to Ben Franklin Middle School, Raphael Elementary. I would walk to school. I would see dudes with bankrolls like this, man. A choker horse every day in the tunnel getting their money. And then when that crack hit, some of them same dudes, man, poof, bankroll gone, man. Yeah. They smoked out.
Crazy.
You know, so my little kid's mind, I was like, that shit ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? Man, you know, but when it comes to the ghetto environment, when you around a caustic, traumatic environment, usually you're going to succumb to something. I started snorting cocaine when I was 14. You know, found 5 quarter tees down by Virgo. Somebody must have threw them running from the police or something. And I didn't know what the fuck they was, you know. Found out that it was cocaine. I remember I sold them things. I brought my mama some gold earrings from Macy's for Christmas. I remember that. That was the first illegal drug that I hustled, you know. But, you know, imagine just because I live in the projects, I live in Fillmoe, I'm exposed to that as a young person. Like, you know, if I'm growing up in another neighborhood, I ain't about to be walking down the street and seeing 5 sacks of cocaine on the ground.
I mean, that's, to be real, that's another thing the Mo is known for is that coke shit, man. Yeah. I'm gonna just keep it real.
I got the long fingernails for the cocaine. What Nicotina said. I was like, man.
Yeah, smoking.
I'm like, Nicotina, nigga, I ain't never snort no coke with you, nigga. What you I got the long fingernails for the cocaine. I was like, man, let me go find this nigga right now.
Yeah, smoking chewies and all that.
Yeah. That's that Fillmoe shit.
Okay, so then that's a good transition into hip-hop. You talked about the block parties earlier, the Strutters, Big Bob, the DJs. How did you start rapping?
Yo, Hugh EMC started off as a DJ.
Okay.
I got into hip-hop as a DJ. When I was about 12 years old, my mother brought me a set of JVC turntables, like, you know, and I was begging my father to buy me some 12s, like, but at that time, he was like, nah, I ain't spending all that on no turntables, you know, but I started DJing, started doing, like, little, like, center parties in the center, neighborhood center and all that, and I started DJing for my boy, MC Snook, rest in peace, my boy Snook from OC, and I was DJing for him, you know. And then after a while, like, he wouldn't switched up, got another DJ, started fucking with my homie Damone, and I just started writing my own little rhymes, but I wouldn't say them to nobody. And I made a rhyme about the homie Littlewood getting arrested and going to YA. Like, he got wrapped up. And I made a rap about the whole thing, like you know, running from the police and all this shit. And when I said that rhyme, like niggas liked it. They was like, oh, nigga, that's tight. You know, like, I'm a DJ. Like, you know, I'm somewhat of an introvert, to keep it real. You know, I've learned to be an extrovert. So I was surprised that niggas liked it. So I started rapping, you know, started rapping on instrumentals. And eventually, OG Mixmaster Cran from Banneker Homes brought my first beat machines from him. You know, got me a Tascam 4-track recorder. You know what I'm saying? And started making tapes like, and I remember my boy Rack Skurs, we was in the projects chilling on one of the floors, and Rack Skurs was bumping the song. I think he was playing Invasion of the Flat Booty Bitches. He was playing something by Too Short. It's a Too Short tape. I was like, nigga, who that? He's like, oh man, it's a dude Too Short from Oakland. Like, you know, he be selling tapes and shit. So I was like, ding. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, nigga, okay, we about to follow that blueprint right there, you know? And plus, I'm a DJ.
So he had a tape. It wasn't like was it one of the 75 Girls tapes?
No,
it was like straight
75 Girls. This nigga got Maxell.
Homemade.
Memorex. Yeah. He got Memorex, Maxell tapes. He's selling them, you know. I don't know what he had on the rest of them, but like when I made my tapes, like, I'm a DJ. So you're going to get like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of my raps I done made, and then like the whole rest of the tape, like I'm in the mix and shit. Wow. I'm mixing all the other shit that you like, you know. So I got that idea, you know, being exposed to Too Short, you know. And eventually, like I said, I was in the game, I was hustling, and I'm trying to think what motivated me, man, to start a record company, because I wanted to put my music out, and everybody know DJ EFX, right? Like, he got a brother named Raul Racinos, who's a DJ also. Raul Racinos plugged me with Rainbow Records down in LA that pressed up records. At that time, most people knew about Macola Records because they always advertised and shit. And like, rap Right On magazine and all this shit. But they they always seemed kind of janky. So I never fucked with them. Frisco History, Paris, the Black Panther of rap, when he started his label, Scarface Records, he put out the, I think it was the ATC crew. My boy Phil DeBeat and them from Hunters Point. He put them out on his Scarface Records / Macola. Because that's what Macola would do. Whatever you did with them, they was like part of,
it's like manufacturing and distributing.
Yeah, like a precedent distribution deal, But like with Rainbow, it's like, nah, you the company. Like, I ain't got to put Rainbow Records on this. I'm gonna pay you for pressing and making my shit, and I'm gonna distribute. So in '88. I dropped It's the Game.
Yes, sir.
That's the first
It's
single.
the game. It's the game.
Man.
And that was, so your record label was Soul Sonic.
Soul Sonic Records, man. Because I always like the Soul Sonic Force.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I was tripping off that. I was researching on the way over here. I was like, Soul Sonic Records.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I changed the name of my label now, but like, Manifesto Music Group is the new label. But like, like giving tribute to hip hop history, man. Soul Sonic Records.
Let me ask you something, because we had JT here last week, and I asked him, was Hugh EMC the first Fillmoe rapper that he heard of? And he said yes. He wasn't sure if there was other people rocking mics, but in terms of having product out, he said that you were the first. Was there any other Fillmoe rapper, even Frisco rapper? Was there any having
I don't
product?
know about Fillmoe, but Frisco, I always shout out the Frisco Kid from Lakeview.
But he had records?
You know what? I don't know about that. Like, he was played
because I know about the Frisco Kid too. Yeah. So respects to him. But I'm saying to have an actual product, a tape, a record.
My boy Celine, like, he's kind of one of them dudes that's like from Fillmoe and Hunters Point. Like, he got respect on both turfs. OG, he came out with a record. God, I think it was 1986 or something like that. I forget the name of the record, but like that's the first like record. But like you gotta do your like I just found that out maybe 5 years ago.
Wow.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So
it wasn't really in rotation like that.
Yeah.
And you kind of.
I'm the first one that kind of like blew up.
Make a splash.
Yeah. Like boom. Yeah. Like I was in Spin magazine, Right On magazine. Like
off that first single.
Off the. I was in Right On. I was in Right On magazine off that first single. When I was in Spin magazine, I think I had dropped the Gangsta Knowledge EP by then.
Okay, because 88, bro, like, for those who don't understand, like, there's not that much hip-hop out, period.
Yo.
You got your Houdinis and your Run DMC and Ice. I mean, it's not that many, though. Yeah. So to even have product at that age and at that time is pretty impressive. If you never heard It's the Game, go bump that. Like, just pause this and go bump that right now, because that is a Frisco classic.
Yeah.
Did you make that beat?
Yep.
That shit's so hard, bro.
Man,
what was your influence for that? Because it kind of reminds me of like the Too Short beat, the early Too Short.
Yeah, Too Short, the Godfather of the Bay, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, always gonna give salute to Short, man. And like, I've always been conscious on some level, but I knew like brothers wanted to hear like this gangster shit, man, this player shit, so like Too Short did influence me a lot, especially with the bass lines and like all that.
But it's also like hella hardcore, like he cussing a lot, which is, people don't understand, it's like rare for a record back then.
It's the Game. It ain't no cuss words in It's the Game.
Oh, and that one is no cuss words. Okay, I didn't even trip. Okay, yeah.
Because I purposely did that because like I didn't have enough money like to make radio edits and all that shit. So I was like, man, I ain't gonna cuss on this. It's gonna be hard enough for the streets, and the radio station can slap this shit on too if they want to.
Okay.
And then the other side, the beat ass bass is like a little party cut, like so like I'm jabbing out there. It's like, okay, like what's gonna hit? You know what I'm saying? But like my zone is like It's the Game. You know what I'm saying? So I dropped that in '88. you know, and yeah, because like when it comes to Fillmoe and everything, like you know, yeah, I can't think of nobody else maybe before me, man. I really can't. Boomin' in Effect was popping, but I don't think they had a record out.
What about IMP? Was IMP out at that time?
Look, I released It's the Game. Maybe about 6 months later or something, I hear a record called I'm Rolling by some nigga named Cougnut. I'm like, who this nigga Cougnut, man? I'm rolling, dipping sick. Like, Cougnut looked exactly the way he sound when you meet him. I was like, man, that nigga look just like he sound, man. You know, rest in peace to Cougnut, man. So I don't know how long Cougnut had been rapping, but he dropped that single maybe 6 months after It's the Game.
Crazy.
Like same year.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you know. And so I released the Pimp Style EP. Cougnut dropped Scandalous, super classic, like boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when I came with Gangsta Knowledge. So we were releasing shit like back to back, going back and forth.
So it was y'all two in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's a trip, bro. What was your first? Do you remember your first time you met Cougnut?
Man, I met Cougnut at Bankroll Studios. I was recording at Bankroll Studios over near Lakeview on Holloway Avenue. And man, I'm trying to think. Like, I know Cougnut just had came through. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I know he was coming through, you know, like, cause TC was engineering, you know, like he came through with some drink and shit, man. And then we sat down, we chopping it up, and I was making Keep a Bitch Broke, right? And so Cougnut was listening to Keep a Bitch Broke. He was like, yeah, man, you know what you need and something, you know what you need in that? You need like some ill wind and shit flowing through that. Like, and then when I'm thinking, cause like when you listen to Scandalous got them ill ass. So Nut was like, yeah, man, you need some ill shit in the background on that shit. Like, yeah, man, you know, yeah, Nut, man, that was my nigga, it's a cool nigga right there, man. I was like, shit, you know, and it's like, it's beautiful how hip hop can facilitate peace and unity on the streets.
Yeah, because you're talking about different neighborhoods at a time when the whole city's pretty much funking.
Yeah, I'm from Fillmoe, recording in Lakeview. Like really, I should be like, nigga, what is you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, but, you know, man, I push positivity. You know, I push hip-hop positivity. Nigga, Hugh EMC, stay ready, nigga. You ain't running up on no square bear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but I'm always going to push that unity and positivity first, man, you know, and it was a beautiful opportunity. I couldn't pass that up recording out there, man.
Sure, yeah, it's a legendary spot. Yeah. And so that's where you made Keep a Bitch Broke, huh? The H nigga groove.
My poetry too.
Yeah. So by this time you've hooked up with X1 on the music shit. And was he making beats or? X1
would be like digging into the archives, man, like for samples and all that kind of shit.
So like all the little movie samples and shit that's in there.
My poetry, that's X1.
Yeah.
Like X1 found that loop. And like,
that was a Marvin Gaye loop, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, ooh, nigga, what you got there? You know, the I Don't Stop, X1 produced the beat for I Don't Stop. I played the bass line. So we did a lot of co-production. You know, Gangsta-matic, that's another one, X1, like that, the ill-ass loop. Like, I remember going over there to his house and shit, like, you know, he running it back and forth. Like, okay, yeah, we gotta fuck with that. And one reason I hooked up with X1, because I felt like he had that authentic hip-hop style, and I wanted to add that into my drum production.
Yeah, okay.
So, so I would, like, have X1 do the drums and shit, so it could have that, you know, that feeling to it.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
it's almost like a Gangstar type of thing, right? The DJ and the rapper type of duo.
Yep.
And so y'all dropped Gangsta Knowledge. And it was things just starting to kind of get bigger for you at this point.
Man, you know, it's like, you know, in hindsight 2020, man. You know, you know, it's a lot of shit. Like, now I'm telling you, I was in the game. Like, you know, so a lot of like shit was getting bigger. Like, I'm dealing with being famous. You know.
Oh, so you still hustling? So all them pictures of you with the scales and the pistols and the big ass bag. That's all. Those ain't props.
No. Look, there was a time Like, I'm gonna tell you why.
Because that's what I was saying. I was just saying that once again, them pictures, bro. When I did that video, I'm like,
man.
man.
Trophies.
I'm like, Huey got the illest pictures, bro. He got a purple caddy with purple matching shoes on, looking like on Eddie Street or something like that, man.
That's on Turk Street.
That's on Turk Street.
That's on Turk Street, man.
Man, them pictures is raw, bro.
Man.
But so you're still wiggling while you're making music.
Yeah, because when I released It's the Game, I stopped hustling. And especially back then, the worst thing you could have is a hit record. So all of a sudden, I'm 18 starting a record company. I don't know how this shit really work. I'm thinking it's like the dope game. I'm thinking if I sell 1,000 units, you pay me for my 1,000 units, I'll go recop.
Yeah.
No, 90-day consignments, minus 10% free goods and all this type of shit, right? So, boom, I got a hit record. I gotta start making some money so I could press up more shit. Yeah. So that's how I jumped back into the game. And that's why I stuck with it. I didn't want that to happen again. The record game evolved. I think I want to say his name right. I'm gonna say St. Charles. That's E40's uncle. Right. He created the whole cash on delivery hip hop shit because he would ask for $3.60 for an album. Mm-hmm. So for a record chain or distributor, that's double their profit. Because regularly a consignment for an album, you're giving me $7.98, $7.50, maybe $8 even. They're gonna turn around and sell it for 11 or 12, and then when you go into the store, it's depending on what they brought it for, it's 11, 12, 13 or whatever. You're talking about albums. But so St. Charles is check this out, shit, man, give me $3.60, but give me all my money right now. Yeah. And so that kind of started that game. And plus, when he did that, the Click E40 them had been popping already, so they proved themselves these dudes is popular, so you're gonna sell this shit, and the price that he's giving you, and I'm pretty sure E40 could give more details on that. This basically how it was told to me.
Well, you're coming in. See, everybody associates the Bay Area with independent labels. Get Low, No Limit Records, Young Black Brother Records. Yeah. You're coming out before this blueprint is laid down. So you got to figure this shit out as you go.
It's I'm making a blueprint. Yeah. I'm drawing. I got the crayon and shit. So everybody come after me. You ain't got to make the mistakes I made. You ain't got to get cheated the way I got cheated. And dealing with E40 and all that, St. Charles, he's a grown man, you know what I'm saying? He's approaching it from a different level. I'm 18 years old, man. I ain't no internet or none of that shit. Ain't no way for you to really study this game. OGs that were giving me game on it, they did kind of tell me but some shit they didn't even tell me like that, like the fucking 90-day consignment contract shit. That hurt, man. Especially when you got a hit record, because it's you could in 90 days, man, you could sell 80,000 units. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's so I had to learn all that, man.
So after Gangsta Knowledge, you came out with the Mob, right?
The Mob, yeah.
And then you were just telling me today in the message that the Mob was actually your concept for a bigger, a super group.
Man, so when it me and X1 in Prince Hall, we had a lot of young cats coming through that were aspiring artists. JT, D-Mo, Seth were three of them. My boy T-Mar Schwinn.
Elements of Change
used to come through. We had a bubbling cauldron, because we had gangster and positive rap, So when you go listen to JT's very, very first release, that Danka Dope, the SF on the Rise, you hear him rapping and say he'll be like me and the MOB. This is before they started the GOP. When he say me and the MOB, that's what he talking about. Because Fig, I didn't have enough money really to put Fig out. I took Fig to G-Man Stands. That's probably the first real studio he ever been to, So I took him to G-Man Stands. It was my session. I had a few hours. I had 4 hours left. I let him get them 4 hours for $60. Man, give me $60, man. You could get the rest of them hours. G-Man Stand charging $40 an hour. So I'm giving, I'm blessing you. And then after that, like Fig is making noise. He's pushing his hustle. Like you see how Fig got hustle. Like Fig been a hustler like that, man. Like, you know, because like I say, I've been in the game. Fig done dabbled in the game too. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I remember me and Fig having a conversation about some shit. Like, you know, and I was like, Fig. It's like, nigga, I said, man, flip that. You know what I'm saying? Go, you know, man, go ahead and flip that. But this is when Fillmoe niggas know this. This is when he brought the famous yellow drop top Mustang. It's like famous in Fillmoe. You know, he had to get that Mustang, man. He's gonna buy that Mustang. You know, and that's probably the only time that I know of that Fig didn't take his money and then just reinvest it in something to make more money. Because that's usually like from what I've seen, that's how he get down. But before Fig came out with Game Recognized Game, you know, like I connect Fig, like Rack Skurs from OC. So, you know, Fig, the youngster from YBG. I connect Fig with Rack Skurs, like they gel. And so Rack Skurs is the one that executive produced that whole project. You know, paid for the video, everything, you know. And so that element right there in Prince Hall, it was so many, you know, my boy, rest in peace, OC Dre, like, man, one of the rawest motherfuckers that I've heard in my life. There's like 4 MCs that I've met personally that, like, when I heard them, it's like, not just like, man, you good, man, but like, whoa, like, you know, like you get that little feeling like, you know, like, okay, man, like, man, I don't want my turn on the mic. You know what I'm saying? You got to fight through that shit sometime, right? But like OC Dre is one of them. Quinn is one of them. I got a homie named Wise Proof from out of New York, was just so fucking phenomenal lyrically and shit. He made me really get back into the rap game and shit, and like, okay, man, I got to start writing again and get serious with this shit when I met him, you know. And so it's like OC Dre was one of them people, man, with one of them styles, man. You know, he would have been big, you know, if he, you know, didn't get took away from us so early, you know. But that's the game, though, you know. And thinking about that, man, you know, I most definitely want to shout out, man, Gigolo G. Right. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Gigolo G.
I met Gigolo G the first time you brought him to my studio.
Wow. Remember that? Wow. And this is why I think about Gigolo G, because the day OC Dre got killed, I was supposed to meet him at Gigolo G house, you know. And it's like, that's crazy, little crazy coincidences like that, you know. You know, we just lost FDOG, Freaky Fred,
yeah, rest in peace, Freaky Fred.
You know, and I'm happy that I was able to do some music with him, you know. And my boy Cold Blood, man, like, we putting this together for Cold Blood to, you know, to really give him his flowers. You know, me and AD, the homie Diallo has some of his music. Me and Paul's, I do a lot of recording at Paul's spot now. And Cold Blood got some stuff up there that we're mixing down, and yeah, we're we about to get it mastered and everything to release it for the brother. You know,
that's what's up.
That's what's up. And just on that note, it's like, man, you know, we all artists, man. We all get down in the same craft. You know, it's like, you know, people ain't gonna be here forever, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, man, you know, get into that lab, man. Make some great music, man.
I like
that. You know, just push it out. Make some great music, man.
Yes.
You know, put this shit on the map the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, man. So following the mob, you ended up signing on Intermittent for a single.
Well,
so, because for those who don't know, we talk about Intermittent a lot on this podcast.
I was signed on Intermittent before I released the mob. I released the mob independently.
Okay.
I signed the Intermittent. I released the True Flow, the original version of the True Flow, and then I re-released Gangsta Knowledge through them.
Okay.
There's 2 covers for Gangsta Knowledge. One is black and white, my original release. The other one is in color.
Okay.
And we did a whole new photo shoot. That's the one Intermittent Records put out, you know.
And so by now, like, the Frisco rap scene is booming, and especially at Intermittent had Dre Dog. Intermittent had RBL, a Totally Insane,
Cougnut.
IMP.
Yeah, IMP.
I think even Pooh Man was over there. there.
Man, yeah, man, Master P was over there,
had distribution with them. Yeah.
Me and Master P for a minute had the same management group, management company, Sophisticates Management. Like, you know, so that, and man, Intermittent Records was doing a thing, man. You know, and then, you know, Dog Day Records, like that came from Intermittent, two workers that used to work for Intermittent, JoJo, I believe JoJo and Chris, they went and started Dog Day Records, and they eventually worked with Nicotina too, I believe. But like, yeah, man, Intermittent, man, they had the game sold, you know. But you know, I fell out with them. Like, I wasn't directly signed to their label. I had a P&D deal, and they wasn't showing me my books, man. Like, you know,
I think RBL had a similar experience.
Yeah. You know, like, you know, man. You know, motherfuckers is crooks, man. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it wasn't even like I wanted to get paid, man. Like, you know, really, I just want to know what my shit doing, because I would go to Intermittent Records, and employees in the back would do shit like this. They'll get a blank piece of paper, be like, Huey, this is how much you sold this week.
Right.
Hold up like 3,000, you know, 2,000, 4,000. Like they'll hold it up. Like, so there was that fucking treacherous, like, you know, like, we can't even really tell you this shit, man. We got to tell you on the low and tear the paper up.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. You live and you learn, man, you know. And like I say, man, you got to do a certain level of good business, man. Intermittent Records to still fucking be here, man.
Right, you know, I know. They could have been like Death Row before Death Row.
Priority before priority. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know?
So there's a big gap between your music career after that. And you mentioned San Quentin earlier. Did you get locked up?
Yeah, man. You know, like when I put out the Mob LP, shortly later, man, I caught a case, an OC, man, and like you got a decision to fuck with the public defender. You know what I'm saying? You know, or pay for a lawyer. You know, and like the way my money was, like, you know, like I had to, all my chips went to a lawyer. I couldn't put it into the music. It all went into a lawyer, which was the best decision I made in my life. Best decision I made in my life, man. You know, because right now, it's not even like they might as well tear my record up and throw it away now. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I was like, I'm gonna pay for this lawyer. I ended up getting hit with 16 months, and then I did a couple of violations, you know what I'm saying, you know, and that throw your life all whack, off track and shit, you know. But, you know, I started, you know, like after I got out, you know, very soon, I started working at KPO, had my own show at KPO for 7 years, you know. You know, I remember I ran into Paris at High Street Studios, and I guess he didn't know like what I've been doing and shit. Like he's surprised to see me, you know, like I got 15 years or some shit. Like nigga, I thought you had 20 years. but I'd been DJing at K-Poo for years and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I ran into him and shit, right? You know, it's like, you know, when you're a rapper, if you ain't putting out directly music, like people like, man, where'd he go? He's not fucking with the hip hop scene anymore, you know. But I learned better than that when I went to New York. First time I went to New York, all these people I hadn't heard of for years, they all working at studios, radio stations. Like I was like, oh man, they still doing shit, getting paid. Like they just ain't making records.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of different lanes you could take in this hip hop shit.
Yeah. You know, and so you know, so like my primary concerns then was getting off parole. You know, I'm working a square job. I'm at the radio station. You know, and got my own place to live and everything. And then shortly later, Sick YG got me to come to a studio session with Equipto at Hyde Street. And that's one of the, like, I did a song with Equipto, and that's one of the, like that hiatus period, you know, that's one of the first times that I returned into the studio, you know, you know, and now that things have gotten like a lot cheaper. You got the digital, digital workstations and all that. It's a lot easier and cheaper to make music, you know, because especially like even back when I put the Mob LP out, it's like, you know, you had to have some chips behind you, man, you know, even for like the production and
Absolutely.
shit. You know, it's, the shit ain't cheap, you know, and so that's basically like why I got that gap, like in like releasing music after the Mob LP, you know, I catch a case, I'll go to jail, like, like Huey trying to get his life back together, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm doing some regular square, 9-to-5 shit, paying the bills, and the closest I could get to hip hop at the time is like, man, working at a radio station, which is really what I went to college for. But when I went to SF State, like I had to wait they had to do like a whole year or 2 years before I could get into the broadcasting department, So instead, I went to City College and did their digital media program, And so, but like when I graduated from high school, that's one of the things I wanted. I was always interested in psychology. I work in that field right now, and I always wanted to be like a radio DJ because I started off as a DJ before I was rapping.
I mean, to me, it's like one of those stories that just shows everything happens for a reason, right? Because even though your rap trajectory got derailed around that time, it's like you're saying the whole time you're still hustling, you're still in the game. Who knows what could have happened if you had stayed in that longer? Who knows what could have happened if the rap shit took off and you're still doing that? Because there's a lot of stories in rap about cats that's got big success in rap and still wiggling in the streets. So, and to hear all the things you've done since then, education and working in the radio and still doing music and still putting out releases, and now you're working with youth and working in the community.
Yeah. Shout out to the NCLF, New Community Leadership Foundation, man. I'm one of the founding members of that. I sit on the board. I'm the vice president. And the whole crew does wonderful work, man. Majid and Jamil, man, be hustling super hard. You know what I'm saying? But like the whole crew, Mama Lily, Jada, Phyllis, great. We got a great crew of people doing nonprofit work in the city. And like, yeah, man, it's today is like the anniversary of Tupac's death. He died today, 27 years ago. The day, September 13th, back in 1996, he was killed. And I always look at Pac, man, and I wonder, like, if I got big, like, like even not big as Pac, but big enough to be around that shit, because like I hear about all of the shit that went down at Death Row Records. Yeah. Man, I don't know if a motherfucker would have tried to play me like that, man. What Huey gonna do, man?
Yeah, sometimes this rap shit is like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I want to get put in that position.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Pac, man. But that's just one of those cautionary tales, that some of these young rappers today need to look at. If you're a rapper, I don't give a fuck how tough your gang is, what you done did before you started rapping. You're an artist now, young bruh. Yeah. Leave that bullshit alone,
Absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
And if your homies really love you and respect you, they gonna let you. They're not gonna ask you to do no fucking drive-by or sell some dope or like, the shit Young Thug that got caught up in just being close to some shit, or like the Game Got Goofy dumb shit 6ix9ine did and caught a case, It's and it's hundreds, if not thousands more, unfortunately, that have been caught up in the system like that. But it's you're an artist, man. And that's something that I really want to push. It's like, dude, you're a rapper, you're an artist. You ain't got to be tough no more, bruh. Yeah. You ain't got to walk around, trying to prove that you Billy the Kid, man.
I think that means a lot coming from someone that's got such a history of like hardcore ass raps. But you pushing, all sides of the game and you pushing it in a positive direction.
Yeah.
And man, like I said at the beginning, bro, I salute you, bro. I could not do what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for your contributions. One last question I wanted to ask you is what we talked about earlier. When you look back on this legacy of Frisco and especially Fillmoe, how it kind of starts with your lineage going all the way into, like we said, Nicotine, the GLP, Messy Marv, Fully Loaded, The Gamblers, and even the new generation, Lil Peep and Lil Yee. We could be here all night if I listed every rapper from Fillmoe. What do you think What are your thoughts just looking back on that history, bro?
Man, it's a beautiful legacy. You know, I feel that Fillmoe, Frisco rappers, period, but Fillmoe rappers aren't getting like their proper due respect. Like motherfuckers come steal our slang and shit. And since we're not nationally known, like motherfuckers think so and so made this up. You know, or this. You know, like it's I like to see us have a larger, more, more highlighted name nationally as far as Fillmoe rappers go, as far as Frisco rappers go, because Oakland done kind of bust through before, but like the whole Bay right now, like we got Too Short and 40, then we got some other rappers that like are like doing shit, but like, we don't got no Jay-Z's and Puff Daddies and Nas's, like dudes, like we got talent like that, so that's what we need to push. And we got to work together more, man. We know we in a different environment than they are down south and back east, it's just a different environment, a different, we're not a media capital the way New York and LA and Atlanta are. And by media capital, I mean record companies, movie companies.
Infrastructure.
Yeah. Like, we got tech shit, like super big and shit, and that's something to springboard off of. But like, in New York, man, I could hop on the train and spend maybe 4 or 5 hours and probably hit 3-4 record companies.
Right.
Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Listen to my demo.
Yeah.
You can't do that out here, man. And we only got like one primary station that plays hip hop. You go back east, you go to Philly, it's like 3-4 stations playing hip hop, big stations. So that creates competition. Like, you gonna play that local artist more likely if you're competing with the other stations.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's like, man, if I don't play this hot dude, the competition is, but like if you only got one outlet, the motherfuckers would be like, no. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we got to push, that's why these podcasts like this are so important, to give exposure to artists like me and other artists that are coming up and that are up, so they could reach the people, you know what I'm saying, when other avenues aren't like giving them the lane like that, because everything is a business too. So, I understand why radio worked the way that it works, but like, I ain't gotta like it.
Yeah, well, we got our own platforms now, man. And like you said, man, you're here. Like this podcast cannot be complete without a visit from Hugh EMC. So thank you, brother. Thank you for sharing your story. We're going to push this. We're going to keep pushing.
Yo.
Appreciate you, bro.
Get that Gorilla Mob Music single right now, man. Gorilla Mob Music. Check the video out. And the Hip Hop Manifesto, man, will be out next month, man. It's a dope album, man. Like, it's something on it for everybody. Y'all going to enjoy it, man.
That's what's up. I look forward to that, man.
Yes, sir. Hugh
EMC, in the place to be.
Dig that, man.
History of the Bay podcast. Much love. We out. Peace.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.